What is good, YouTube? This is CoolStoryBrobat with the 29th narrated Showdown battle. This is against a bro. This is against a bro named Blaziken48. One of the dozens of people who was spectating me having this 208 turn stall battle last week. It was ridiculous. But this battle was at like 4 something in the morning. After that battle was over, he challenged me to an OU battle. And for whatever reason, my lesser instinct got the better half of me. Like, I don't even play OU seriously as I've always stated before. I've got another OU team, but it kind of sucks. You might not see it in the future. Well, actually, you will see it in the future someday. But I use this team again, and I just look at his team, and I'm like, how am I going to win this? Like, you know how you can just look at someone else's team and try to predict who's going to get the most kills? I'm looking at Porygon2 thinking, you're my man right now. You're the main guy. It took me till like the middle of this battle to realize he had a sand stall team going on here. And he said he's only lost like twice with it, though he hasn't used it in a while. But, you know, it's like, whoa, this is going to be intense. 4 in the morning. I'm already worn out. I have no confidence in my team. And oh, goodness. But let's just get into this. Let's just observe what happens here. Let's observe. I lead off with Power Wash, my Rotom Wash. Go for the Volt Switch, because, you know, that's just what Rotom does when you have a Scarf. You Volt Switch. He leads off with his Roserade, sets up Toxic Spikes on me. And I go for the Body Slam. Now, the thing about this team, I don't have a Rapid Spinner. I don't have a Rapid Spinner, but at the same time, I'm not completely worried about hazards with this team. Like, see, Spike Lee, Dragonite, and Rotom Wash are all immune to Toxic Spikes. Dragonite and Rotom Wash are all immune to Spikes. Spike Lee, Conkeldurr, and Jirachi are all resistant to Stealth Rock. Porygon2 and Rotom are all neutral to it. Dragonite's the only thing weak to rocks. So you know that it sort of trades out, but you know, whatever. So he brings out his Heatran, and I went for the Thunder Wave with Dragonite, hoping I would outspeed it. But you know, I see why he named his Heatran Feel the Rage. Apparently he's running Tormentran. I've never faced one before, but I've always heard about it, and I've always heard it is so annoying for people to face. So, you know, I gotta keep my game up. You know, he brings in his Hippowdon. I got P2 unit, go for the Ice Beam, does a ton of damage, and it freezes him. And I predict him to switch into Jellicent to take another Ice Beam. And lo and behold, he gets hit with the Discharge. You know, everybody's like, whoa, good prediction, good prediction. And I'm like, it's cool, it's cool. I gotta stay focused at like 3 or 4 in the morning, whatever. Go for the recovery, heal myself up. He goes for the recovery, heal himself up. I knew Discharge wasn't going to kill it if I went for it again, so I'm not going to let myself die slowly here. I bring in D Knights, and I switch back out in the Power Wash, hoping he would try to lure out the Will-O-Wisp in him. And he switches out into his Rosie, and I go for the Volt Switch. Now, bear in mind that I like to pay attention to what happens when you force a certain situation. Like, when I have Rotom and Roserade out, I like to see what he's going to do. Just for future reference, you'll see why I said that. So I switch down to Liberace's. He brings in his Heatran. For whatever reason, he switches out. I guess he didn't have a fire move. I switch back into Spike Lee, my Ferrothorn, and I'm going for the Power Whip as I receive the Wish from Jirachi. And he switches out into his Birdie, and pretty annoying thing here. He has Rocky Helmet on his Skarmory because, you know, he could just use Roost to recover. And Rocky Helmet is a pretty annoying item. It sort of forces me to play a little bit differently against it. I went for the Hydro Pump knowing that, you know, I'd rather have gone for the Hydro Pump than the Volt Switch, than, you know, because in case he did try to bring Hippowdon in, which he did. So Rotom gets the first kill. That's Rotom, 1 kill. Bring in Spike Lee, go for the Thunder Wave knowing he's going to switch out. And I bring in Power Wash again. And now I predict him to go for Roserade. That's what I was talking about. I knew he was going to switch into Roserade, so I went for the Hand Power Ice that time. You know, I try to see like what they're gonna do and what they expect to happen. He's expecting another Hydro Pump, but he switched in Roserade, so I went for the Hand Power Ice just to nail him with the prediction. And so I go for the Wish, healing myself up. He's setting up Spikes with his Skarmory. I can't paraflinch it because he's got Iron Head, so I'd be hurting myself more than I'd be hurting him. Since Porygon2 traced his Roserade's natural cure, it cured itself with Toxic, even though it landed back on Toxic Spikes again. And I get Stealth Rock up, I get a layer of Spikes up as he went for Whirlwind. He goes for Whirlwind again, brings in Liberace. I go for Protect, just to block his Whirlwind, because I have leftovers, he doesn't. I go for Wish, and he Whirlwinds me, brings in P2 unit. Unfortunately, it dies. Unfortunately, it dies, but it's all gravy. He goes for his Heatran. I bust out the Hydro Pump on him this time. Gets the critical hit, not that I don't think it mattered. So that's 2 kills for Rotom. 2 kills. He brings out Jellicent. I gotta switch out here. bring in Spike Lee again, pretty much just gonna let this guy just sort of go down. I go for the Power Whip again, just to go for the Power Whip, because I'm not worried about whatever he switches in. And he brings in his Lonely, his Fortress. I'm not sure why he calls it Lonely, but obviously he was going for a Rapid Spin to get rid of the hazards on his side. I went for the Thunder Wave, which was all I needed, because that's what this team revolves around, this Thunder Wave and Paralysis. Bring wheelchairs if you don't like my team. He goes for the Toxic, expecting me to switch, but I'm really just letting Spike Lee just die. Do the right thing. He goes for the Protect, blocks my Power Whip, and lets me die a soft death with Burn. But like I said, I got my Thunder Wave. That's all I needed. Go for the substitute to block Toxic, and Dragonite's not as effective without hazards up, but I'm not worried about it. Go for Dragon Tail, force Lonely to come back in. I go for Dragon Tail. Oh no, I switched out. I go for Liberace. He goes for the Protect, and I go for Wish to heal myself up. He goes for the Earthquake. Does a good amount of damage, but I got Wish. I'm not gonna mess around with the luck of trying to paraflinch him, so I'm just gonna heal myself back up. He goes for Earthquake again as I go for an Iron Head. I get the critical hit, doesn't really do a ton because it's Fortress. It's got that defense. Go for the Iron Head and I just keep spamming it. He breaks through the Paralysis and the Flinch chance, hits me with Earthquake, and he brings in his Skarmory. I go for the Iron Head and it does damage to me. I go for Wish to heal myself because I know he's gonna Whirlwind, and it brings in Power Wash. Thankfully, I go for Volt Switch. Critical hit kills off his Roserade. I'm pretty sure it would not have killed it off if it wasn't for the crit, but it doesn't matter. I could have killed it with something else afterwards. So 3 kills. Rotom has 3 kills. So his Jellicent goes for the Sklad, and he gets the burn on my Liberace, and sorry, I'm still sick. Now, it might be against my better judgment to go for the Iron Head while I have a burn on something that has Recover and Resist Iron Head. But you know what? Do you really think I care about that? It is 4 a.m. It is 4 a.m. and I am grinding right now. I am grinding. So I decided to randomly switch into D-Knight as he switches in his Birdie, expecting me to, go for another Iron Head. I go for Roost to heal myself up. He Dropex. Doesn't do much at all because I'm multi-skill. He Dropex again. It does a little bit more because I don't have multi-skill. And I go for Roost to heal myself back up, and he just keeps going for Dropex, and it's like, what are you doing? Maybe he was expecting me to switch into Conqueror, or maybe he just wanted to keep going for Dropex. Either way, he can't run Brave Bird since he doesn't have leftovers, so he has no recovery to mitigate any recoil. So he goes for Sklad as I bring in Dragonite and set up a substitute, and he goes for another. I go for Roost. I don't know why. I'm just doing it, and he goes for another Sklad, and he gets a critical hit, and it doesn't even break the sub, even on the second hit. I get the Dragon Tail, and it's critical. Brings in his Birdie again, and I go for another Dragon Tail. I'm just going to play these games until one of them dies. And his Fortress is out, lonely, pretty lonely here. He brings in Skarmory again. I go for Dragon Tail once more. Hurts me more than it hurts him, but he switches out. He's probably going to go for Recover to heal himself back up, obviously. I go for Power Wash. He's paralyzed, and I'm like, alright, it's time to capitalize. It's time to capitalize. I go for the Volt Switch, hoping I nail it, but I get the critical hit on his Fortress. Good, thank goodness for that, because it saved me a few turns, so to speak. And I got Moses out here. I was expecting him to switch into Jellicent, predicting like Drain Punch or something, so I went for the payback. But he doesn't switch, he decides to let it stay there. I figure he's going to let it stay there again, so I gamble, go for Mach Punch. I get lucky, and I go for Focus Punch. He goes for Roost, and look at this power! Strongest Focus Punch in the game, and it brings Skarmory into Sturdy after it heals itself back up. I go for Power Wash because I kind of checkmated him here with Volt Switch. Skarmory goes down, it brings Liberace back out. It's like, why is Liberace here? I don't need you. I don't need you, but we're going to keep you. We're going to keep you. He's going for Recover. I'm just going to spam Iron Head, even with the burn. I go for Wish, and he goes for the Sklad. Doesn't do a ton of damage to me. I went for Wish so I could bring in Rotom safely in the event of whatever he does. And he goes for Taunt. And now, in last time I used this team in that battle with Light Mew, I said I wanted to surprise somebody with Dark Pulse on Rotom. This is that moment. I'm spamming it like a champion out here. MLG 360 NoScope Dark Pulses. Rotom about to get 5 kills. Rotom pretty much just came in and slowly killed his whole team with a little bit of prediction and a little bit of luck. But Look at that. Dark Pulse. He flinches. I get the final Dark Pulse to hit, and that is good game, Blaziken48. Real good game. Honestly, in the middle of this battle, I was not expecting to win this after Porygon 2 died. I was like, wait, what? I did not... It actually didn't even occur to me till like today that I realized that Rotom got like almost all the kills by itself, with Conqueror getting that little Mach Punch right when it did. But whatever, man. Good game. Thank you guys for watching. Also, shout outs to my bro Captain Striations. He told me that he showed my channel to a friend of his who likes competitive battling and stuff, and his friend showed it to a number of people, and I got like a bunch of subscriptions, likes, and views and comments, and I love that a lot. So thank all of you guys for everything. Thank you guys. Thank you, Captain Striations. Shout outs to a bro. Thank you guys for watching. I hope to keep you guys entertained in the future.